with feeling.
I know.
Good Lord.
I know.
And here we are.
And
We
here,
are now live. At
and
least I
here
hope
we
so.
are. Oh my God. This is
It is so good to see everybody again.
glad
We are
everybody.
live on the power of you.
That's right. We are here. And thank those of you who've been around with us looking at these things. Thank you for being here. We're grateful for you. And we were just commiserating about how many hours we've already been talking today. So if we're a little punchy going through this, that's what's
Little twitch.
I know, we might be a little maybe a little punchy. So one of
yeah. And today is about havoc. Yeah.
it is.
Yeah. The working title for our crib notes for today was
it is
The Power of You, Havoc, how to create havoc.
Well, it made me smile. It made me smile, Blaine, kind of thinking about coming into this. So we've been, for those of you listening, we've been teaching a 5-day leadership challenge. And the leadership challenge is, we just finished day 4. And today was all about co-creating coordinated movement, all the things you do as a leader. So if you're in that challenge and you're listening, hang up. Get off.
Get off. Yeah. We'll see you tomorrow.
We're going to, exactly, because we're going to be talking about all the things we're going to talk about the other side of it today.
Yes.
So we're going to be, that's our focus today. So rather than teaching you good habits, no.
We're going to teach you how to descale today. The power of you, the descaling episode.
That's right. So if you don't want money or employees or people or friends,
you want to shrink your business.
Yeah, that's what we're going to talk about today. So, oh yeah.
This
love that.
Quote. Yes.
Culture eats strategy for breakfast.
And I don't care how good your strategy is.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
I think it was Mark Benioff that, because I think the original quote was culture eats strategy for lunch. I think that was the original Drucker quote. Benioff amended it to things are moving so fast today that culture eats strategy for breakfast.
I think so. I think it got reinterpreted, and Drucker went, yeah, that's all right. I'll take that.
I'll take that. Yeah, we'll run with that one.
That's all right.
How do you unscale a business? And just stop and think about this for a minute. I mean, if you're going to stub your toe, you may as well understand, how you're doing it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. If the speed bump in the pathway to success knocks you completely off the roadway, here's probably what's happened.
Yeah. Here's kind of what's going on. And not, a lot of this is, and this will be fun to explore, I think, for everybody, for us too. But it is that fear of losing, it goes back to the, ground back to the 5 lies.
Okay. Yeah.
I must be in control, right? So fear of losing control. So I'm going to unscale, because by God, if I'm not controlling it, things are, and then the fear of being exposed. And that doesn't mean, that's not literal. That doesn't, exactly. Right.
Don't let them see you sweat.
Right. We remain fully clothed at all times, but it's the fear. It's too many hours today. It's like, but yeah, don't let them see you sweat. In addiction to speed over emotional engagement, we got to go fast. I don't care. It's due. Get it done.
Yeah, we forget that deadlines are arbitrary. Somebody just pulled them out of thin air at some point in time and pretended that Moses gave them on a granite tablet. Yeah. No, they were just made up. And so addiction to speed over emotional engagement. You talk about stress inducing.
Oh my.
Yeah. Yeah.
So. Oh yeah.
Which literally ties right back into more effort beats better alignment. Yeah.
Right.
You just do more of the same, harder and faster.
Yeah. Throw people at it. Throw time, money at it. My old story about my buddy Paul Orfella. I can solve it. I'll just throw money at it. There we go. I'll just buy more people. Let's go do that.
Buy more people. Don't worry about onboarding them or anything else. I was talking on the Office Hours show that I was doing earlier today. Rhett Butler and I were co-hosting the show.
Yeah.
Rhett was just facilitating a summit of sorts on AI integration. And
Oh boy.
one of the takeaways that he has, and I said to him, okay, this you had a bunch of experts in there. What was the takeaway for you? What did you actually learn there that you didn't know? He said, we actually have to onboard AI the same way we onboard people if we want it to work well. And I went, that's
cool.
interesting.
Yeah.
It's progressed to the point where people are actually interacting with this. So when we're talking about better alignment, it's
Yeah.
alignment trumps a lot of things.
Yes. Yes. It's funny.
Yes.
It's kind of
Short
yes.
version.
It's exactly. It does. Well, it's so funny. It just kind of reminds me, it's like when you get in the car and you look over at your significant other and go, "Where are we going?" I don't know, but drive faster.
But drive faster. We've just got to get there.
If you drive faster, awesome. Where are we going exactly? Where?
Well, I'll let you know when we get there.
You're right.
So
yes.
how does all of this, square with the conversation of leadership? That's kind of where we're going to be positioning all of this, because I mean, you think about leaders on the pointy end of the spear here. Yeah, I must hasten after them, for I am their leader. That's kind of what's coming into play here. So we look at this, and you operate in a universe. Yeah, every leader operates in some sort of a universal structure. Every organization has got this. And this universe, this leadership universe, is actually supported in greater or lesser ways on four foundational pillars. But most organizations, and when we're talking about how you descale, how you actually constrain and actually deconstruct an organization, it's because almost exclusively the conversation, the focus, and all of the activity is organized around why do we, the vision, strategy, tactics, the why, the what, and the how. And what's missing in all of that is an understanding that all of the behavior that is being generated in the organization around the why, the what, and the how is created out of a mindset. People say yes to that direction, and they end up going in that direction. How come? Well, mindset hijacked the process, and away we went. So if you want to descale your organization, don't pay attention to mindset. Just ignore it. Just ignore it. Just pretend it's because you got stupid people, just because you got lack of commitment out there.
Yeah, exactly. That's such good advice.
Here, you may as well take it. I'm not using it.
That's right. It's true, though. I mean, it's funny when you think about organizations, and we've all been. I've been in organizations where it's all about the why, what, how. It's all about that. Let's not worry about consensus, agreement, alignment, mindset, imagination. What the hell do we need imagination for?
That's daydreaming. That's you're talking about fluff.
I don't pay people to imagine.
I'm sure. I certainly don't pay them to sit at their desk and look into space.
No, I don't want people thinking about ways we could do stuff better. What the hell? We have a way we do it. So first I do A, then I do B, then I do C. There you go.
There you go. That's it. I was sailing in the British Virgin Islands years ago, and we had some engine trouble on the sailboat that we were in, and we were on the other side of the island that we had chartered the boat out of. And so I called the marina and said, we got an engine problem. He says, okay, we'll send somebody over the mountain and come down. And so they sent somebody over, and so we were sitting there just waiting for somebody to come in. This guy showed up, and he's down there tinkering around, and then I look in the hold and I watch him doing the work on the engine, and I'm going, and he was doing some work on the carburetor, and that is fast. And I know enough about engines to be dangerous. I mean, that's about all I know. But he had done something. He had jury rigged a little system there, and I said, that is a really innovative fix. And he looked at me and he said, yeah, man, sometimes I think they don't pay me for it, but sometimes I do it. The use of the imagination. He came up with a very creative solution.
I love that.
And that doesn't happen a lot in organizations. I mean, if you want to, again, descale and make sure you're stuck in the mud, yeah, shoot imagination before it gets a toehold.
Yeah, right. Why not? Just do that. We don't need it. Just throw it out.
Yeah.
Just get rid of it. Yeah. And of course, spirit and soul. There's
Yeah.
that's that gateway.
Yeah, that's where creativity and innovation actually exists. Is when you tap into that spirit of the organization. Who are we? Let's how does that get expressed as fully as it can be expressed?
Yeah.
That's
Well, and then the 4 pillars. I'm not going to explain the 4 pillars, but I'll do it inversely.
okay.
First of all, why does trust matter? I know where we're going. We have a goal. I've got an objective. We decided this. So let's get going. And autonomy is, here's the tasks that you need to go do. I'm going to let you be autonomous within the constraint of the tasks I've asked you to accomplish.
Mm-hmm. I am the boss, and do it my way.
Therefore, exactly, or do what your boss told you. Why aren't we in communication? I told you once.
Yep.
I don't need to explain why. I don't have to. There's no why. I don't have to. We don't need the why. Let's just get it done. Here we go. We set the goal. I want 10% more revenue. I want that. I want it today. And then, of course, growth and innovation. We've planned the growth. Don't you worry about it.
Yeah, that's our job at the top of the food chain here.
Don't trouble your little head with thinking about growth. Just take care. We've got the growth under control. And systems of accountability. It's like, that's the inverse of a real accountability is. Here's the spreadsheet. Mm-hmm. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to write down on the spreadsheet for the next 15 days everything you do every day.
Every day.
And then you're going to turn it into me, and I'm going to look at how you spend your time. And then I'm going to tell you whether you're of value to me or not. That's that way we're accountable. We're good. We're good. I'm going to help you measure your valuable on how you spend your time. There you go. Thank you for being here.
Yeah. Love you, mean it.
Yeah. Pat them on something. Pat them on something as they
pat them on something, that is HR approved.
Yeah, no, exactly. We encourage you not to touch your employees that way. Don't do that.
Yes, no.
Don't do that. It's not like the old coaching days.
Yeah, no. And communication transparencies.
Yeah. Why would I be? Yeah. Why would I do that? Why would I? So all of these, it all hooks together. Why would I? I've told you what we're doing. I communicated it.
I told you once. That's enough.
Do you not read my emails? How could you not read my email? I sent it 7 minutes ago.
Exactly.
It's in your inbox. So yeah, it's the inverse of the intention behind all of these, and it really does. It's similar when you mentioned there earlier, Blaine, but don't worry about mindset. Focus on the why, what, and how. And it's just very similar. I'm not worried about autonomy. You got your tasks. Not worried about trust. We made the decision. I've told you how we're going to do it. Don't worry about growth. We got that under control. We've decided what growth is. And the system of accountability is you go put your hours in this machine and it'll tell me your value to me and how we're moving forward. Are we on or off target? And I'm happy.
That's all you need to know.
At that point, I have unscaled my company.
We're pretty far down the pathway here.
Yeah.
So exactly. So again, this whole Power of You series is all things leadership. We're looking through the lens of leadership here, and you can't really appreciate how it can be unless you can really appreciate how it typically is. And that contrast is really
nicely said.
Where's the gap? Yeah, this is a gap analysis. So when we're looking at this, most people's definition of leadership is, and we've been alluding to this, is I'm the boss. You just do what I tell you. Yeah, I know the direction. We know best. We're on the top of the food chain in this organization. We will tell you what needs to be happening, and we'll also tell you when it needs to be happening. And as far as the metrics, you don't need to know what the financials are. We got that handled. Don't worry about that. I mean, all that stuff. That is the antithesis of what we're looking at doing here. And an interesting factoid is, today there's 5 generations in the workforce today. I mean, just think about this: 5 generations, boomers, all the way down to, and I'm not sure what the newest one is called any longer.
I don't either. I'm not sure.
Yeah, but there's 5 of them, and each one of them have different mindsets. They have different expectations. They grew up with different mores, different values, different environments, all kinds of stuff. One size won't fit all, and most definitely command and control, which has been the leadership model since Hannibal brought the elephants across the Alps. Right. Command and control. It's a military model. Just kind of go forth and conquer. That won't fly in today's world. It just really it alienates people. It polarizes. If you want to descale your company, be in charge. And,
oh boy.
Yeah, that unscale your company. If you want to unscale it, just kind of start taking the levers of growth and put them in reverse. The way we define leadership, influence, it's state of being. Yeah. How do I show up? How do I show up?
Yeah.
Because I am an energetic body. I have an energetic influence in the environment that I find myself operating in. And before I ever open my mouth, I walk in and people start running to the woodpile because I'm now here. They start paying attention in different ways. They start paying attention to different things. And part of what they're paying attention to is, am I in a good mood? Am I in a bad mood? Can I come close? Do I need to pull away? Do I need to protect myself? Can I be open? Does he trust me? Does she trust me? I mean, all of that stuff. And you've not even opened your mouth once. And all of that stuff is going on. How are you influencing other people? Leaders cause movement, and we cause movement by our influencing persona. So that's one of the things that we look at here. The co-creation piece. Me telling you what's important and why you should do it is not the same as co-creating. And you saying yes to me telling you to do something and why it's important is not the same as commitment. It's basically it's compliance. People have to do things. They believe they have to do things because you're the boss, which is different than I want to do this. Big difference between have to and want to. The coordinated movement. When we talk about trust, if you start looking at where things break down in an organization's work process, the lack of trust generates a lack of coordinated movement. We talk about alignment. There's no alignment when there's no trust. There's blame. There's CYA. Cover your tail. Don't volunteer for things. I mean, all of that stuff. And the last piece here is a worthy ideal. Most people never even bring that to the table. Yeah. And if you want an organization that doesn't know, up from down,
right?
If you don't have a worthy ideal position around your goals, objectives, and vision, you're going to be missing a huge opportunity to actually scale in an interesting way. Absent that, the best you can hope for is neutrality. You're going to be, driving in park.
And hoping things are moving. Hoping I hear an engine. We must be moving.
Run.
Yeah, exactly. We got to be moving.
We ran the RPMs up. How come this thing didn't move?
Exactly. Yeah. It's funny because as we're kind of heading to and today is clearly tongue in cheek today around unscaling your business, and hence the title of the deck was Havoc, leadership havoc. But it is really truly, and when you think of what we talk about kind of coming up and wrap this definition over the top of it, right? Leaders cause movement. What are you in? Who are you influencing the others? What are we co-creating? What are we doing together? What does coordinated movement look like and feel like inside of an organization? It's that collection of relationships. And then in pursuit of that worthy ideal, to your point, most of the time where the rubber meets the road, it is, I want a 10% revenue increase.
Yep.
That is not a worthy ideal. Yeah, that's not the worthy ideal. That poor forklift driver in the warehouse goes, yeah, and I'm not sure what that means.
I'm not sure what that means. Yeah. Yeah. Me moving this pallet from point A to point B a little bit faster. Yeah. Whatever.
Yeah, it just means at the end of the day, I'm going to get more pallets. So therefore,
Yeah. And I'm going to get the same amount of money, whether I move more pallets or not.
right. I remember many times, it's funny because many times as a manager in organizations where, I'm a director, right? And a manager, and in this role, and you're managing, you're not leading, you're resourcing. And got a team, got a big team. And then we would end up in this, we call it the more for less programs.
Yep.
I want more, and you're going to get less.
Yeah. Oh,
Or
I'm so excited. Let me sign up for that.
I know. The more for less program.
So this idea, the worthy ideal piece. I mean, we talk about, and we do talk about this a lot, that this is a piece that's really missing in almost every organization to a significant degree, unless the leaders are really schooled in what we're talking about. For the sake of what isn't the vision, it's not the goal, it's not that 10% revenue increase. It really is the answer to what matters. What matters? And if you want to stop your company, don't invite people to answer this question. Yeah, just leave them in the dark. Yeah, just let them do what the job description compels them to do, no more, no less, and you'll get that return on that investment. This is essentially what you'll end up getting.
Why are we not growing?
Yeah, for the sake of what are we doing any of this? Learn how to ask that question in a way that gets the kind of engagement from people that will provide a meaningful answer. Because all behavior is organized around meaning making. All behavior. If it's not meaningful, you're going to see a certain kind of behavior. If it is meaningful, you're likely going to see a different kind of behavior. That's basically as simple as we can make that. And trying to change behavior without addressing the meaning making process, that's a crazy errand. Yeah, you're not going to pull that off particularly well.
Yeah, I like that. It's just to be blatantly straight. Yeah, that's a tattoo. Crazy errand right there.
Crazy errand, yes.
Crazy errand. Right? It could be a band. I'm not sure. But
hey, that's a good band name.
It could be. Maybe that's my next band will be called Crazy Aaron. But now that's so very true. I mean, it is that worthy idea. We were talking this morning with our group and the challenge around, as humans, when we're done with our day, we want to know that there's value in our day. Which adds meaning. What's our meaning? Our meaning is that we've added value. I feel fulfilled based on my contribution.
Yeah. There you go.
Speaking of,
yes.
you do the first one. Do the first
one. Go back to that leadership universe. Yeah. You've got the why, the who, or the why, the what, and the how. Vision, strategy, tactics. Mindset, imagination, mindset goes into the soul of the business, the soul of the enterprise, the soul of the undertaking. When you ignore the mindset, that worthy ideal gets disconnected. And there's a distinction between motivation and inspiration. Inspiration starts internally, and it keeps people moving. Motivation, you need to continually reinvent something to motivate people, whether it's a carrot or a stick.
Yeah.
And from a leadership perspective, that gets exhausting. It really does. And it's also resource intensive. Yeah. Inspiration is not necessarily calling on new resources. You tap into something that's already there that can be brought out, that people want to have expressed. This is meaningful to me. This is meaningful to me. This is for the sake of what? So that's what we want to pay attention to. How you access that is through mindset. Yeah. By mindset, I'm saying you don't use mindset. You recognize what mindset is. Mindset is a set of beliefs, of values, mores, experiences, all that stuff that generate behavior. So you want to be able to explore, and this is when we're talking about ignoring mindset. Basically, what you're doing is you're ignoring an exploration. You're not becoming aware. Awareness creates choices. An increase in awareness, you increase more choices. More choices translates to more behavioral options for how we move and what we do. That's what we want to be able to tap into. If you want to make sure you stay stuck, ignore the mindset question. Guaranteed. Yeah, you'll stay stuck. Yeah, you'll get more of what you've always got and think that you're making progress.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot around that. It's
Requisite variety.
Something requisite. Something requisite. Yeah, something a lot around that. Exactly. And then there's who you are. And you as I thought the picture on this was cute when I found it, but it is there's ways that we operate, right? There's egoic, right? There's the way that I operate in my egoic mind. And we all have ego. We all have an ego. Ego is a universal dilemma. It's who we are. We all have fear. So get over it.
Yeah.
Every person has fear. And when you combine ego and fear with the added equation of urgency, which is that random date that was manufactured in somebody's mind that creates an urgency to move forward to something that has nothing to do with where you're going for the sake of what, and you're not aligned, you sacrifice. And what happens in that sacrifice, because I call it growing up, being the grandson of a redneck, to throw that out there, right? From Alabama originally. I speak Alabama, by the way, if anybody needs me to. But the full Alabama, I can speak it, and with pride. But there is that I always heard my grandpa talk to me about I, me, my, us, we, them.
Mm-hmm.
And the predicate that you put on the front of it, if it is an I, me, my, I am, it is my fear, it is all about me, I am not in alignment with us, we, them. And when you're not in alignment with us, we, them, you destroy trust. And there's a fact about trust. The trust, it takes 5 to 7 interactions to create trust, 1 interaction to break trust, 3 to 9 months to recover trust. So when you think about unscaling your organization, when you approach it from that I, me, mine mentality, God, I haven't thought of my grandpa saying that for decades. Yeah. That sounds like I, me, my boy. Now get back on the boat. Then
yes, he's a fisherman.
Right. Exactly. We got things to do. It is that you shatter that trust. And when the trust is destroyed, you break the ability to move your organization forward, because now you're in this too shall pass mode. I'll just wait them out. It's another brilliant idea. So I'm just going to wait them out. So and these are cousins. We're the ideal and who you are. These are cousins. They're right there side by side.
Kitchen cousins to go back to Alabama.
I was going to say, since we got Alabama going on, but I won't. I could go complete. I could do a whole squirrel moment on that and get in a lot of trouble. Yeah. But I'm not gonna.
Okay.
Out of respect.
So let's take a look at this. Strategy.
Yeah.
I mean, going back to the very first slide. Culture will eat strategy for breakfast. Culture is another word for mindset in an organization. Yeah. If you want to know what the mindset of your organization is, spend some time understanding what the culture of your organization is. That'll give you a pretty good feel for it. So the best strategy in the world is not going to work if you are not willing to really address some mindset issues. Most breakdowns are mindset issues disguised as strategy problems. I was on a flight back, and this is back in the 70s. I was a flight back from Asia, and I happened to be sitting next to a guy that was retired military. And we got to talking about it, and this was not too long after the Vietnam conflict and whatnot. And somehow the conversation got into the domain of chemical warfare, biological warfare, and that was kind of interesting.
Sure.
And he said, and I've never forgotten this. He said, I don't care how virulent the pathogen is, how toxic the pathogen is. If it's introduced into an environment that doesn't support its growth, it's a nothing burger. I mean, it just won't go anywhere. The environment makes all the difference in the world, and that's what we're talking about with mindset. Most breakdowns are mindset issues, and I don't care how good your strategy is. It can be the best strategy that has ever been developed on the planet Earth in the history of the universe. And if the mindset doesn't say, hey, cool, nope. And then you're going to say, well, it was a bad strategy.
Yeah. No, we could have told you.
Yeah. Wasn't a strategy. And we end up, because we think that it's the strategy. Okay, well, if it's a strategy problem, what specifically went wrong? Well, it's got to be the plan itself, or the people, or the process. Yeah, I mean, those are the three most likely suspects. Go to the same suspects.
Right, the 3 Ps.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
And the flip side on this is, I mean, if your strategy isn't aligned with a mindset, or if your mindset hasn't been calibrated to effectively support your strategy, it literally is like building on a cracked foundation. It is going to tumble, guaranteed. I mean, if you want to descale or unscale your business, stack a strategy on top of a weak mindset, or a mindset that doesn't support it, and watch the walls come tumbling down.
Yeah, pouring more cement won't help.
Yeah, which puts you into a reactivity mode. Yeah, more speed, just throw more stuff at it. That kind of stuff. It's fear-based. All of these things. Yeah, it's not the strategy that will either succeed or cause success or cause failure in your organization. Strategy is, I mean, any strategy basically at the end of the day is going to serve a purpose. It'll get you somewhere. The mindset is what enables it.
Yeah, I think it's funny you said. I want to really nail that last piece down that you just said. Be it actually, I don't know if we're making it up on the fly or not, but but that last piece around, look, and that's so true, Blaine, because I think leaders get hung up on, if I've got the perfect strategy, I'm going to go. Any strategy will create movement.
Yep. Just land on one and start moving.
Right. Without the mindset, you're not going to go anywhere.
Right.
Strategy is really important. It is not all there is to it.
Yeah. It's got to be planted in a fertile field.
Yeah. Exactly. Otherwise, you're going to grow tomatoes, and who knows how that goes. So,
go.
Well, I was going to say, as you can tell, this is well rehearsed. We just kind of jump in over the top. But this, and some of this kind of leans in on things that we've already talked about, right? Reactive, fear-based, or unclear. Reactive mindset. One of the things in any organization, and that as we think about this, Blaine, I think is, when you look at what happens inside the body of a team when you're working inside a mind. There's multiple kinds of mindsets, right? I've got 3 listed here: reactive, fear-based, unclear. They're all mindsets.
Yes.
Right? It's all mindsets. Mindset is let's come down to what we talked about earlier: mindset and behavior. So the behavior of reactive, your result is going to be chaos and not clarity. When you're in that mode, and we'll have a little grab picture that talks about this later, but when you're in that mode, all you're going to be doing is you're going to be burning time. When you're burning time and burning trust and you're burning team energy, the end result is you cook your people. And you can tell when they start showing up to meetings and they're a little medium rare, and there's a little, you could remember we talked about in the definition of leadership, how you show up. As a leader, when you show up, one of the things that you should be paying attention to is the feeling, the vibrational state, not to use a woo-woo term, but a vibrational state of the people when they come into the room. You should be very attentive to that. And when they're coming in and they're medium rare, they're on their way. They're on their way to get ready to turn them over. They're going to be medium here pretty soon. You can feel that because you're burning time and trust and energy, which is an indication of where your mindset's. And same thing with fear, right?
Yeah.
Which is the control of, I'm going to control you rather than encourage and support collaboration. I'm going to micromanage you to death. And the other challenge that is that we're adults. As adults, several things happen. I went through a certification process to be an engineer, right? And I had to take all these tests to prove that I knew what I was talking about. Most of it I've forgotten, but I studied it all. As an adult, I was moderately offended that I had to take tests.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what do you mean I have to certify? I told you I know this. So it's very similar when you are micromanaging your team and you're playing small. Like it says here, you're playing small, not playing big, playing small, and the team doesn't feel empowered to own the strategy. You're putting them into a position to where they cannot get to success. No matter how hard you try, they will not get there. And same thing with unclear mindset, right? Confused execution, right? If you're not clear, clarity breeds confidence. We could talk about all kinds of stuff with this. And you're not looking to get everything right. You want to have challenges and you want to have conflict. You want all that. That's important stuff. But you want to have confidence and proper kind of conflict. So your decisions, right? You're going to send the mixed signals. And it again aligns back to that mindset. So when we talk about mindsets, be careful as we're thinking about it. If you're going to unscale your business, these are 3 that you want to bring to the table.
Absolutely. And when you're looking at impact, you can't scale what you can't align. So, no. I mean, you just kind of look at this through this lens. Yeah, insecure leaders, create constraints because, I mean, when you think about insecurity, it's a contractive force. When people are, insecure, they tend, control is the paramount focus point. How can I keep myself safe? Right. Psychologically safe, not necessarily physically safe, but psychologically safe. So it leads to micromanagement, slow decision-making, smothering teams. It's the absence of trust. Insecurity creates lack of trust, ultimately. And, a good friend of mine, Stephen Covey Jr., wrote a book, The Speed of Trust.
Yeah, great book.
Slow decision-making down, blow a hole in the trust dynamic in your organization. People will look over their shoulders. They won't, they'd be tentative in how they start. Cycle times will increase. I mean, so again, if you look to unscale your business, let's find ways to, make it cost more, take more time, and, destroy morale in the process. Well, leadership insecurity is a sure way to do that. I need to know who I am. When we think about trust, you think about it this way. When I say trust from a leadership perspective, I trust myself to handle the consequence of doing this or saying that. I trust myself to handle the consequence. So when I start giving control away, when I start delegating, I trust myself to handle the consequence of those folks out there autonomously making decisions within certain parameters that are going to be designed to move things forward and ultimately scale our business. Otherwise, put a lid on it.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. I just keep seeing Sisyphus in my mind.
Yeah, rolling that rock up that hill.
I'm going to roll it up. I'm going to go to bed and I'm going to roll it up. I'm going to go to bed and I'm going to roll it up every day. And you will be rolling rock up the hill all by yourself.
Yep. And the lack of vision, tactical scaling piece. I mean, this is where busy work becomes a proxy for productivity and growth. Well, God, we were busy today. Well, what actually got accomplished that was new and unique? That's don't ask me that question. We were busy today. You don't understand. We did a lot of stuff today.
I had 12 meetings.
Yeah.
Therefore, things happened.
Because what's missing there is a for the sake of what that compels a different kind of thinking. Different kind of thinking generates a different kind of behavior. And That's what you're looking to have, is a different, ultimately growth reflects itself in people behaving differently because they're being different. They're required to be different. And that's what we look to see when we're looking at, are we actually scaling our organization in a way that is actually going to serve who we are as an organization, but also serve our people. They want to grow as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Otherwise, if you're not doing that, you got folks that are just kind of go through the motion. I mean, I'm reminded of the headstone, in the graveyard, R.I.P. Yeah, and most people think it's rest in peace. In this case, it has to do with retired in place.
Exactly.
Retired in place. Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. When I was working in Japan, I spent about 5 years in Japan running a couple of companies there. And there was the first time I heard this thing, I found myself laughing, but it was serious. They called them window sitters, and these were folks that literally had no more, because of lifelong employment at that point in time, and this is back in the 80s.
Oh, yeah.
Lifelong employment in Japan. If somebody was riffed out of a job, they didn't get out of it. They weren't moved out. They were moved over to a window seat, and they were window sitters. They weren't doing anything. They were disengaged. You talk about emotionally disengaged workforce. There was a lot of dead wood there.
Wow. I had
Yeah.
not heard
Window
that
sitters.
before.
Window
Interesting.
sitters.
Window sitters. Oh, that's
Yeah.
it. That's really, yeah. It's funny because it's in my mind. I was thinking of you remember in the days back in when it was like you'd walk into Intel was one of my clients for years and years and years, and you'd walk into and it was like, hundreds and thousands of square feet of cubicles.
Cubicles, yes.
Right. And every now and then
comes to mind here.
there'd be a prairie dog would pop up.
Yeah.
Look around, back into the cubicle. Okay, nobody's called me. I'm good to go. Okay, I'm back. I'm good. So we called it prairie dogging, and it was fun to sit and watch and see, who would pop up and who would not pop up. But yeah, the team is disengaged. They check out.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I was brought in to consult with one of the large consulting firms. They were reorganizing, and so they brought in some external consultants to help them with this process. Sure. And I was doing a site visit just to kind of get a lay of the land. And the term hoteling, the first time I actually heard about it. Yeah, hoteling. People would come in, punch in, and then they'd go find an empty desk someplace, and they'd sit down, and they started. The management team had offices around the perimeter of the building. The bullpen was in the center, but the managers never got out. So you could come in, for a week, you'd clock in and clock out. Nobody would ever see you're there. And they were hoteling. They'd find a vacant desk, do what they thought they needed to do, and walk away. No appreciation, no acknowledgement, no referencing to, hey, good to see you here. And that particular firm was experiencing about 100% turnover in their junior partners. And the recruiting process was just horrendously expensive because they couldn't keep people. They couldn't keep talent. I wonder why.
Yeah, no kidding, right? It's that we're the ideal. I want to feel of value.
Yep.
So here we go. So this is the road. Normally we have a thing called here's symptoms. We've told you all the symptoms. This whole deck was a bunch of symptoms, but here's the path, right? As you think about it, here are indicators to look at when you're looking at your organization, whether if mindset is not, if your mindset's not right, we can help you with that. But if your mindset's not right, your team's mindset's not right, here's what's happening. It's constant firefighting. And firefighting turns into it's blame, it's responsibility. Who did this? Low engagement. That's the prairie dogging we were just talking about. Accountability. People start, well, you're going to make me accountable. Then if I'm accountable, then I could be blamed. Because now, I could be blamed. Could be my fault. Therefore, and then of course, innovation dies. And the moment innovation dies, your business dies.
Yep, because the spirit has been quashed. The soul of the business has now been put to rest.
Yeah, it's death and taxes at that point.
Yep.
It's a matter of time.
And then you find yourself standing literally on the edge of the cliff. All that's left is to jump.
Exactly.
Don't jump.
Or get pushed.
Yeah. Now,
Which can happen.
there is a way to, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
There is a way to address this. I mean, you don't have to actually follow this pathway all the way over the edge of the cliff. You don't have to do that. You can actually scale your business. And that's what this whole thing is about, is how do you scale? And this is the power of you. How do you scale your business? How do you set yourself up? How do you set your team up? How do you set your business up to scale? To actually, not incrementally, like it, 5% difference from what we did last year, but I mean a quantum jump, a phase shift to where you in a short period of time, you look back and going, boy, that's a long time ago. Look where we are today. And it's completely different in some very tangible ways. It may still be in the same market sector. You may still be doing the same product and service offering, but the way it's being delivered, how it's being positioned, all of that stuff is dramatically shifted. That's what we want to be able to facilitate. And Dolan and I are pretty good at facilitating this.
Goodness gracious.
So we're going to suggest something here. Nothing happens until something moves.
Yeah.
So what we do know, and research bears this out, only about 20 to 30% of participants in personal and professional development programs actually follow through on action plans. They go, God, that was a great idea. But then, you check in 2 weeks later, nothing's happened. It's the mindset actually grabbed them and pulled them back.
Yeah.
I want to go there. No, don't want to go there. You really don't. It's a lot more comfortable here. But that's so pretty over there. I know it's pretty. It's a lot more comfortable here. Yeah. There's dragons beyond that. Yeah. You don't want to go over there. Trust me. So how do you actually facilitate a shift? Well, you're very rarely going to do it by yourself. It takes repetition. It takes a dedicated focus. And that's where regular check-ins and peer groups actually come through. I mean, when you've got a peer group, when you've got some mechanism by which you're holding yourself accountable for the growth you've said you wanted, the follow-through rates go to 80% or better, as opposed to 20% or worse. Okay. That's what we want to facilitate. And when we're talking about facilitation, we actually have something to facilitate that process with.
Dun, dun, dun. Leadership Mindset Mastermind.
Leadership Mindset Mastermind.
There you go. So it's all just in brief. The Leadership Mindset Master. It's a 52-week mindset. It's a 52-week mastermind with peers. It's a curated group. It's a we won't say small, but it's small enough to be intimate, with a carefully curated group that gives you the ability to and the tools and the skills and the experience to apply mindset. And there's 5 domains that we focus on across the year, without getting into the model, but it's an opportunity for you to build the foundation around those skills, to be able to put them in place. And when you do that, several things happen. The very first thing happens is you automatically you instill trust inside of your organization. And that's a component of one of the things we focus on deeply. So, and through that trust, the trickle down to that is, and when Blaine and I talk a lot about scaling businesses, you can't scale a business without autonomy, velocity, all of the pieces that come in order to do that. And there's a lot of moving pieces in there. So what the mastermind does, and it's a year long, it's every week, it's a 1 hour, it's co-hosted with Blaine Bartlett and Dolan White, and it's more Blaine and Dolan than anyone should probably ever have to endure every week. But it's well put together. This is the 5th year. It's well constructed content that has already proven results in other organizations, without getting into testimonials and all kinds of stuff. But our invitation is, come explore this with us. If you are a leader looking at how do I scale my organization and how do I become a better leader, or if you're one of the 5 generations coming into leadership, one of the 4 generations that is not us. I don't know where we are, whether we're young yet still. So one of those generations coming in, to it, this mastermind can be very important to the outcome, the results that you're seeking, not only for yourself and your worthy ideal, your personal worthy ideal, but for your business. So our next cohort, this is the 5th year. Our next cohort starts June 30th. But there is not a reg page. So we can't just say, go to this page and sign up and write a check and you can join us. It involves a conversation because this is a curated group. So we're going to invite you to come to that link and you can take a picture of the QR code and have a conversation with Blaine and me or either one of us by ourselves. And we're happy to talk with you about the mastermind, help you understand the intent behind the mastermind and see if that's the right fit for you or if we're the right, or inversely, you're the right fit for us. And that's the intention for that conversation. So it's a no obligation conversation. Our common currency though is Eggs Benedict, and if you feel like contributing to that, we'll accept
there you go.
Common currency. But other than Eggs Benedict, there's no obligation in there anywhere. So we invite you to do that. Please come. Please reach out to us. We would love to have that conversation with you. This is an important time. We are deeply polarized, and polarization runs through organizations in a lot of different ways, and there's a lot of mechanics that come out of it. We had a lot of fun poking at stuff today. So please have a conversation with us. Leadership is critically important. So there you go. That's the end of my pitch.
Okay. And on that note, folks, I want to thank you for attending another Power of You session.
Yeah.
And I don't know about you, Dolan, but I mean, I had a ball here today, just kind of being a little bit irreverent as we did this.
Me too.
It's nice to do a point counterpoint sort of a show here. And folks, we're doing these Power of Yous every week.
Yes.
And they are available for your evergreen consumption. You know, we're posting them in a curated spot that we will make available here. But they go up every week. Every week we've got new episodes, and it's all about leadership. That's the whole focus of these things. And between Dolan and myself, we've got about 90 years worth of experience in this leadership development space. So we're not going to run out of material. We're going to continue doing a weekly show, and you will have a rich library of material that you can actually kind of poke around in. So we're going to invite you to not only take advantage of the mastermind, obviously, but feel free to visit us on the Power of You site, and we will. Right now, it's live on LinkedIn, live on Facebook, live on Instagram. So, and it's live on our YouTube channels. It's not live on our YouTube channels, but it's on our YouTube channels. So, you'll be able to have access there as well.
Awesome. Mr. Bartlett.
Mr. White.
Always a pleasure. Thank you, everybody, for watching, hanging out with us. Have a great rest of the week. We're going to see you. We're in day 5 of our challenge tomorrow. Back at it again with those guys.
Back at it again. Okay.
We'll see you guys next Thursday.
Next Thursday, Power of You. Take care.